Well, they're not monopose, but they're not modular. What are they? Wow! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. Old Big Mek here, and that's right. It is time to do the full Sprue review of the Wrecka Krew. Let's get into it. Alright, I'm assuming that most of you watching this video probably haven't seen any of mine before. I have actually done a number of videos already on the Wrecka Krew because this channel, the Red Ones Go Fasta, we are all about the Warhammer 40K hobbying aspect. So everything about building kits, kit bashing, saving money, putting squads together, all that kind of stuff, making your units as cool as possible. That's our jam. So I've done a lot with this already. I did a whole video on what the best unit was to actually kit bash these guys with, which I'll put up there for you to go and take a look at. But that was all like how to stretch the kit further. This is literally a Sprue review. What is a Sprue review, you ask? Well, when it comes to Games Workshop kits, they used to put really great photos online on their really great website until they came out with their new garbage website. And while they have gotten a little better, they're still not great. And the big problem with a lot of the photos that they use and pictures of things such as the Sprues is you have no idea on scaling, and because it's not three-dimensional, they use a very flat, photography method and whatnot, and obviously it's 2D looking on the screen, but you know what I mean, like they don't give you any alternate angles. The old website used to have these really sweet 360-degree rotating views. Now, they didn't do the sprues, but they did all of the models like that, and that was really, really good to see what these things actually look like in real life and kind of help gauge the sizes of units, not just the height. How wide are they? How girthy are they? How much space do they take up on the actual base and all of that? So what I do is I buy this box with my own teeth because I'm not sponsored by Games Workshop, and I absolutely comb through it and bring you the footage of everything and even put some stuff together and really show you side by side what these new models look like, how they compare to the old ones. That way you are super well informed so that when you go and buy this kit, you can have your own decisions made in place beforehand to stretch it further, to decide what you're going to do with it, and so on and so forth. So, with all that said, let's get into the box. All right, let's start with the actual Wrecka Krew themselves. So this is the box that you get that's standalone. This is the same kit that was in that double Kill Team starter set with the Rattling Snipers, now available on its own. And inside this box, you get the Breaka Boyz and the Tankbustas mob, and it's up to you to decide how to build them. Now, I've done a number of videos on converting them using other orc bodies. Those will be linked up above and in the description below. But today, we are just looking at the sprues themselves and how they are compatible with other kits. But like I said, first, let's do this actual box. So, in here, you do get the instruction manual with all of that stuff, a really nice decal set, and this little packet right here, which is actually really nicely done. They've got this little sticker on it, and it's really nicely printed. This is the cards for the Kill Team itself. Let's see if we can get in there without destroying it. There we go. Oh man, those things like to pop off really, really easily. There we go. So this is all of your counters for this Kill Team so that you can use it in a game of Kill Team. So these are all of your different measurement things and all the different things that the squad can do in Kill Team, and so you need these to play Kill Team. And so if you are buying this set for 40K and you don't play Kill Team, people that do play Kill Team that are going to want to convert this set versus paying for it, you can probably help them out with selling those off. Okay, then you have the packet of bases here. You get 5 32mm for the regular boys, a single 40mm for the knob, and a single 25mm for the bomb squig. Actually, there should be two 25 millimeters in there. There we go. Sorry, two 25 millimeters for the bomb squig. All right, now let's look at each individual sprue. So try to do this as best I can so that you've got good background here. And we will start here. The sprue is labeled 2024, so it was actually molded last year. And this is the one that starts with number 1 with the body here. All right, let's use our handy dandy pointer so you're not just looking at my finger the whole time. So what you've got on this first sprue is a body here, as well as a backside or armor component, a front side, a second body, a leg. There's another front side, another leg, quite a few arms. You can see that they're very, very scatterbrained with what these sprues look like. Now, what you do end up with when the whole thing is said and done is you get 5 complete orc bodies, 1 complete knob body, 2 complete squigs, and then you get all of the weapons to build both teams. And how that works out is you actually do end up with 6 complete of these tank hammers. So you do have 6 complete versions of those, plus the double pulverizer fisty things. You get 1 set of those, and then you get the full set of rocket launches. So we'll try to go over each individual weapon here. You do have a backpack. This is the knob backpack. You can see it's got the pull there for the knob banner on it. Boss pull, there we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So there's the boss pull, and there you have 1 of the tank hammers, some weapons, boss pull part, arm, leg. This is 1 of the rocket pistols, front piece, arm, the other top of the boss pull, that front half of a body, head, back half, the other pistol, head, shoulder pad, and then in this half, you get a top piece of the armor panel. These are the armor panels that are used on the Breaka Boyz, and that's because the way that this kit is made to be both Tankbustas and Breaka Boyz, you actually end up with kind of these weird upper shoulder pad areas. And on the Tankbusta guys with the rocket launchers, you either use these armor panels on the offside arm, or you have like literally the rocket is up on their shoulder, kind of like you see right here. But anyways, if you were to just put regular arms on those bodies, you've got these kind of unfinished areas, and that's why they give you these giant armor panel top pieces to cover up those gaps. These are actually really ingenious. That's what makes these so easy to kitbash, is because you don't have to worry about the arm joins so much. And it even works on the knob size guys. So you do get 5 of those, which is really cool. Now, you don't get 1 for the double fist guy because he's got this crazy backpack looking thing that ends up taking the spot of it. So do keep that in mind, that you will have to make sure that that 1 guy is done correctly. Okay, back to the sprue. You've got, those are the double fist arms, some rockets, body front, some arms, another tank hammer, shoulder pad, leg, arm. This is 1 of the rocket ones. There's a rocket launcher, arm, another tank hammer, leg, arm, and another top panel. So that is the whole first sprue. All right, and sprue number 2 here. Again, 24. You've got a bunch of parts on there, and we'll go through all of them. What you're getting here is, again, rest of the bodies, rest of the arms, rest of the pieces, and you're starting to see squig parts. So here's a squig face. There's another one of those armor top panels. You're getting into the additional loadout pieces for the Tankbustas to actually put their stick bombs and stuff on. This is a squig leg. It is very, very tiny. This one is really easy to clip off wrong and screw up, so be very careful with that one. We got leg, body, squig part, front piece, armor panels. There is a rocket launcher. That's one of the shoulder mounted ones. You can see what I mean on how the armor panel piece there, the shoulder is built in to this arm, and so that's how you can end up with kind of those funky joins. You have these options in the rockets, which is really cool. You can either have the double rocket or the double rocket with 1 firing, which is a lot of fun. Tank hammer. Moving on, another over the shoulder rocket, another underslung rocket, kind of a big rocket piece. I think that's the upgraded rocket thing. And then this is actually a tank hammer. There's one that you actually have to glue the head to. The head is over here. But on this one, I believe you can switch this one out to be the actual tank hammer with the rocket on it. So if that's something you want to do, that is the option
there, which also means that you're going to end up with a leftover piece, either the drill head or the actual rocket. And again, a couple of arms, a couple of rockets, another body, another squig part, and then this is the backpack for the crazy double fist guy. So that is sprue number 2. And finally, sprue number 3 is your accessories and kind of remaining parts. So you get one body left, one top piece left, the rest of the squig bodies, a couple of arms. But here you are seeing the rest of the rockets. For the rocket launchers, there's another one with it launching, which is cool. There's another squig leg, which again is very, very delicate in where it is attached. So be very careful with that when you're clipping it. Here's your shoulder pad options. And then here's your heads. You do get 10 different heads. I'm going to go both ways so that you can see them all right side up. But you do get these helmeted heads. And then you do get some more bear heads here. So there's this cool guy with goggles, this guy with like one eye patch, another goggle, a helmet there, kind of a really scarred up bear one there, another goggle guy there, and then a helmet. And then, like I said, 3 helmets this way. So you do get 10 heads to play with on here, plus that knob head that was on the first sprue. And then these are the parts for your hammers. So the round ones go on the fists, and there's also a couple of round hammers, and then there's a couple of square hammers, and so that kind of puts everything together. You've got one more hammer here, one more rocket launcher, a couple more shoulder pad bits, and then these are the armor panel pieces for the actual rocket launcher. Now this is really cool. This armor panel piece right here is identical to the one that's been in the boys kit for absolutely ever. So it's really fun that they included that in here along with these all new designs. But those, again, they go on the front of the rocket launcher like this. You don't have to run them, but if you do run them, they look way cooler, especially on the stick ones down here. Otherwise, your rocket doesn't really have anything to push against. But yeah, you do get a selection of those. And so that is your third and final sprue. Now, one thing I want to point out here before we move on to the other sprues to show you compatibility is that these are actually numbered for the build options. So see the E right here? If you look at this arm, it also has an E. Can you catch that? We'll zoom that in, try to make that easier. There we go. See the E right there? So this E arm and this E top plate are for the body that is for E, which is right here. See, we've got the E there. And so what they're doing is these shoulder joint areas are not the same on each body, but they're keyed. And so they're trying to help you key the pieces to each other so that you've got the right arm going into the right body piece. Now you can see this one is D, so it's got a D on there. And then if you look around, you'll find D arms. Now here is the E front half of the body. See the E in there? And so that helps you keep all the parts together. So if you do actually end up clipping the whole sprue or mixing something up, you can look at the pieces and hopefully be able to tell them apart so that you can glue the right pieces together.
Oh, all right. Well, now that we've looked at all the sprues, I got to actually like glue them together so we can do the second half. And well, I'm getting kind of tired, so gotta stop drinking the dirty paint water. Oh yeah, the red squigs on this side. Much better. That's right, this video is sponsored by me, Old Big Mek, and my merch store, theredonesgofasta.com, link down in the description below. This is where you can buy all of the really cool stuff that supports this channel so that I can buy more of these and do more videos to help you save money on your armies. And we'll do more than just orcs, but our merch stuff is very orc-centric and very, very cool, including Red Squig Hat, Red Squigged mug, which, you know, has dirty paint water on the other side, and Red Squigged water bottle. We also have really cool shirts that are designed by BenBam that have really rad orc driving as fast as he can out into the Wa, and these come in all sorts of really cool colors, including black, and in a hoodie version, which has a full color version on it. So check out the merch store, link down in the description below. Super appreciate it. All right, let's go look at the glued together ones.
All right, and with that, this is what your squad looks like after being built. Now, this is just the body and legs. There are no other parts on here, and it's actually really cool because the instructions show this. At first, it actually feels kind of wrong because you finish up a mini and they immediately have you start building one, and then they tell you about the options, and normally the options come first. But what they're showing you here is that for the squads, no matter what you want to do on the loadout, you can put together the two body halves and the leg and create this basic body with the legs and the body all put together, and then you choose whether you are making it a Tankbusta or a Breaka Boy based off of that. So that is actually a cool thing that they do throughout the instructions. Now let's talk about sizing. On the left here is one of the Breaka Boyz bodies, or I'm sorry, Wrecka Boyz bodies built out of the box, and on the right is one of my Tankbustas, Breaka Boy conversions made out of an old school boy. And you can see there is a little bit of height difference there, especially if you were to put this armor plate on top of this body like you're supposed to. However, if you notice, this guy is on quite the tactical rock. In fact, every one of the models, save for this one, is like that. And so it actually helps give them height. Also, their heads are up just a little higher on their bodies than the old school orcs. Now, are you going to notice this less than a millimeter difference out on the battlefield? No, probably not. But if you are a stickler for size, or you really want to know the sizing of these guys are a little bit taller. Okay, to give some more ideas on sizing, because I've seen quite a few people online using knob bodies for these, I wanted to show you them all side by side so that you had a great idea of what to look for. So first of all, this is the new knob from the Monopose Boys set. Obviously, he is quite a bit larger. In fact, he is more in line with the knob from this set. This tends to be the new knob size. They look much more appropriate on a 40mm base. This is where knobs are going in the future, so definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, your Monopose Boy knob looks quite great next to the knob body from the Breaka Boyz box. Now, for the regular guys, here is a knob body straight out of the multi-part kit, and you can see there is a little bit of height difference the other direction compared to a regular boy. These guys kind of bridge the gap between these two sizes. So again, you've got old boy, the new Wrecka Krew, and the current knob, and you can see that body is a bit bigger. Now, where you run into the problem is you can see here the thickness, the chunkiness of the legs on the knob body are way chunkier than this body, and the same is true for the arm attachment points and shoulders. So what ends up happening is when you use these Breaka Boy arms on the knob body, they look kind of shrimpy. They're just a little too small for the body. They don't fill out the hole. Now, again, doesn't mean that you can't use it. Just, again, FYI for when you are making your decisions on kit bashing. Now, to keep going on this sizing, we'll get old boy out of there. This is the Monopose knob body from way back in the Dizay, the 5th edition starter set, Assault on Blackreach. You can tell these knobs because they all have this one arm that is kind of going straight up in the air. Obviously, I've converted the rest of this from there, but it still has that original knob size. You can see these knobs are slightly smaller than the new, quote, new, the current multi-pose knobs. So if you can find yourself a few of the Assault on Blackreach bodies for the knobs, you can use those guys. And also, their arms are a bit skinnier. They match up better with the Wrecka Krew. So you can chop these arms off and be able to use the Wrecka Krew arms, and you would actually have a really good set of bodies. So if you can get your hands on the old school Assault on Blackreach knob bodies, those would make an excellent starting point for converting. Now, I did want to go into the boys themselves. So first of all, if you were making Tankbustas, here is the current Monopose Boy with the rocket launcher. So again, this is out of the Monopose Boys set. You can see he is fair to middling right there because, of course, the new Monopose Boys are a bit bigger than old boys. So that works out quite well. You can totally kit bash and use those guys. Now, to give you a size comparison to old boys, there is the rocket launcher boy from the old boys set. Now, you can see he is quite a bit shorter to the top of his head. Some of that is just the pose. The old school boys, of course, have that hunched over look with the badonkadonk hanging out. And the new boys are quite a bit more upright. Plus, you have the tactical rock. But yeah, there is quite the size difference going on there. And of course, the new Tankbustas guy is going to be a little bit bigger because he's going to have a backpack like the old guy. But yeah, you can see the old boys are actually starting to get kind of overshadowed by these new guys, but again, it's mostly kind of basing material. So if you can up base your old boys, they will work a lot better with these new ones. Now, just for grins and giggles, I wanted to show you the full lineup. There is the rocket launcher boy from the original Tankbustas in metal, and you can see he is quite a bit shorter even than the old boy. So yeah, there is quite the size difference going on your Tankbustas boys as far as height to the top of their head goes. Now, overall model, again, when you're measuring and playing Warhammer 40K, you're not measuring to like the tip of the spike or anything like that. And realistically, like between backpacks and gubbins and things, they're all more or less the same size. But this is, again, as from a modeling perspective, for people who like kit bashing, people who really want to size their things, this is the good information that you need to make your decisions on what you're going to do with your Wrecka Krew. All right, now that we've got sizing out of the way, here is the knob body. And what I wanted to show you, kind of the whole point of this video, is that these sprues are compatible with the Kommandoz and the Beast Snaggas. This right here is the pistol arm from the knob on the Kommandoz, and it actually slots in perfectly. There is no gap whatsoever on there. I know that that's really hard to film, you know, without gluing it in, because I don't want to glue it in. But yeah, that arm, whoop, that arm is indeed the correct arm for this. And the same thing holds true for the bodies. This is one of the bodies, and this is an arm from a Kommandoz sprue that is the same pattern as that piece in there. And when you slot it in place, it literally pops right in. No gaps, no problems, and you could run that arm on that body. And here is a third one. This one is a pistol arm, again from the Kommandoz set, and it pops right in there, bam, with no gaps and no problems. So yeah, you can mix and match the arms from all of these kits. Now, more importantly is the heads. I've been saying this for a long time, that these heads are the same between the kits. So this is a head actually from the Beast Snagga kit, and again, it literally pops right on there. It matches up perfectly, and you can run a really cool Scarboy head on your Breaka Boyz. And alternatively, here is a Commando head. Again, as you can see, perfectly lines up with the neck joint. You don't have to do anything. They literally glue right on. Okay, and with that, you have now seen everything there is to know about the sprues and the completed models, well, not completed models, but you know what I mean, the completed bodies on the Wrecka Krew, so that when you want to build your own Breaka Boyz or Tankbustas, whether you're building them from scratch or using proxy models or 3D prints or whatever, or deciding to actually take this box and combine it with other things and make your own models, or, you know, convert your army and make your army cool, that you know what you're getting into. Now, I did kind of start this out with my little funny intro thing, and we talked about it a little bit throughout the video on the modularity of it. So I have done a video on these sprues called The Secrets of the Sprue, where I talked about the Kommandoz and the Beast Snaggas being similar and having those same arm socket, you know, connections and stuff. And we do see that again in the Wrecka Krew. However, they're not really that compatible. You see, the Beast Snaggas have like this really weird chopped up body, so none of their parts really go body to body. And same thing with the Kommandoz here. They all have the giant hole in the back for the backpack, when really the whole front half of the body is the same. So none of the bodies are actually modular with each other in the way that old school orcs were. The old boys and ludas and bikers and all that stuff, they were all totally modular with each other completely. You could just chop up all the pieces, throw them all in a bin, shake them up, and glue them together whichever order you wanted, and it would literally all work. And that's gone. And while there is some modularity in these arm attachment points being reused, I think that that's not necessarily intentional, and it's more a reflection of the new design process, right? Back in the day, all of the Warhammer stuff was sculpted by hand and then was molded. These days, they're sculpted digitally. And so from a digital file, it's a lot easier to start from a save point and move on. And so I think what they've done, you can actually see this in some of the poses too, is that they take kind of an older version of the file or the basic wireframe of the file and make a newer version of the mini on it, but it allows them to save things like these head and neck attachment points and arm attachment points model to model to model, even though they're like completely breaking it up differently for the molding process on the sprue. And that's why the bodies are so different. The arms are going to be pretty much the same. You're going to want to cut, your sprue right in half along the horizontal long axis of like your Shuta or your Slugga or your Choppa, and so that allows the arms to stay the same. But the bodies, depending on what they've done with the bodies, they might have to break a leg off, break a back off, break a chest off in order to get all of the things actually molded on the sprue in the right way. And that's why you're not seeing any actual modularity between any of the bodies. So yeah, we're in kind of this new era of orc model kits where they're not really monopose. I mean, obviously the new boys kit that's 10 models is monopose. There's only 2 bodies in there with any options at all. These all have options within their box, but those options are keyed to a specific body. You can't really, if you wanted to put the Crusha fists on this guy, for example, I mean, you could, but you'd have to do like some chopping and gluing and welding in order to make it work versus just being able to slap them on. And then vice versa, if you wanted to put these arms on one of these bodies, you can, but you've got to find the one that is the right one, the one that they've reused. That being said, these bodies, these sculpts, these weapons are all so individualized these days that you really don't have to do a lot of that kind of kit bashing. And the fact that the heads are all really easily swapped without having to do any work, I think allows you to actually still get away with a lot on these models and not have them appear as monopose. I mean, think about it. If you build a commando squad and one squad has all the options and one squad has all the knives, they're going to look pretty different. But also knowing that you've got different heads and those heads swap back and forth, and now some of these kits have been out long enough, the Beast Snaggas especially, and now maybe the Kommandoz too, you can find bit slots online of the spare heads and stuff. So like if you wanted those really cool Scarboy heads that the Beast Snaggas use, putting those on your Kommandoz would look really rad, or put them on your Wrecka Krew would be really cool, and vice versa. If you wanted to put the really cool helmet thingies that are looking like that and want to throw those on your Beast Snaggas or want to throw those on your Kommandoz, you can do that. And so you do have kind of this new ecosystem growing that allows you to mix and match these orc parts. Now, unfortunately, they're still not really compatible with much anything else. I've looked at all of like the new buggies and stuff. Those all came out prior to this. So they have an attachment point that is more similar to the old boys and then kind of like their own thing and don't really share anything with these kits. So anything prior to Beast Snaggas isn't going to be like this. And all of the kits since then are literally these kits. You've got the Beast Snagga kits that came out, including the Squig Hog Boys, the Beast Boss, and the Kill Rig. And then you've got the Kommandoz, and then you've got the Big Mek, and then you've got the Wrecka Krew. That's it. That's all the new works we've gotten in the last 5 years. So yeah, this ecosystem, even though it's starting to feel fairly old because it's been a number of years, hasn't really been that many kits. So there you go. There's all the secrets you need to know about the Wrecka Krew, how they interact with the already existing new ecosystem of the not monopose, but not modular Kommandoz and Beast Snaggas, and now you are fully prepared to either go buy this kit and do what you will with it, or indeed kit bash to your heart's desire, proxy, whatever, because you've got a great idea on the individual size of these models. All right, hopefully you really enjoyed this video. It took a long time to make, as well as a lot of money. Like I said, I am not sponsored by Games Workshop. I have to buy all of these myself at full retail. So yeah, a couple of boxes of Wrecka Krews, couple of boxes of Kommandoz, couple of boxes of Beast Snaggas. You can see how this adds up really, really quickly in order to be able to show you full sprues and be able to clip things off and actually glue just the bodies together and have them on hand to show you side by side by side by side. So yeah, I really appreciate any support, whether it's liking, subscribing, sharing this video with a friend, or heading on over to our Patreon, which would be super rad, or our Discord, which is totally free, or again, anything from the merch store. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I got to get back to work making more stuff. And yeah, let me know what you want to see
next on Sprue reviews down in the comments below. We've been doing a lot of orcs, but I know a lot of you have other armies. I've gotten a lot of asks for Imperial Guard. Is that where we need to head to next? Let me know down in the description below, or down in the comments below. And until next time, Wagon!